Good evening. It is now 6:30 p.m. It's time for the regular City Council meeting for April 27th, 2026. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Aaron. Councilman Fleming.
Here.
Councilor Geralds. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Meir.
Here.
Councilor Rohrbach.
Here.
Councilor Wright.
Here.
And Mayor Haynes.
I am here. Is there a motion to excuse Councilwoman Toya Aaron?
Your Honor, I'd like
Yes.
to make a motion to excuse Councilwoman Toya Aaron.
Okay, is there support?
Your Honor, support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Now, anybody that is able, please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilman Fleming this evening.
As we gather here today, let us first acknowledge the profound responsibility placed in our hands. We are not just here to manage budgets or pass ordinances. We are here to serve as the heartbeat of this community. May we be granted with the clarity to see beyond our individual perspectives and the wisdom to act for the greater good of every person we represent. Let our ears be open to the quietest voices and to those who feel unheard, undeserved, underserved, and or overlooked. As we deliberate, let us remember that our strength lies in our diversity of thought, and our success lies in our unity of purpose. May we work with integrity, compassion, and let us strive to build a city where every resident feels seen, every neighbor feels valued, and every decision made in this chamber moves us towards a more equitable and prosperous future for all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd like to add under item 11B, under reports, the claim from MMRA Special Counsel and the claim of Michael Malshevsky.
Okay, is there support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
All right, we have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The motion carries. It'll be added as item 11B under reports. Okay, first up tonight, we have a presentation for the Director of Public Services, 2026 National Public Works Week. DPS Director Sean Ballantyne.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't have a presentation, but just a brief few words about National Public Works Week, if I may. This item is actually a couple weeks ahead of schedule. It would normally be on the first meeting in May, if you notice the dates for the proclamation, but I'll be out of town at the Michigan Recycling Conference, so thank you very much for putting it on tonight's agenda. I hate to start out too heavy, but I would be remiss if, when talking about public services, I didn't take the time to acknowledge the sacrifice of Doug Camille, who was my colleague from Huntington Woods. Doug was their DPW supervisor, a husband, father, a veteran, and just about one of the best people you could ever meet. And he was killed in the line of duty clearing a downed tree from the road a little over a month ago in that windstorm on Friday the 13th of March. He died serving his community, which is what public works professionals do every day. This Public Works Week, I ask that all involved keep him, his family, and his team in Huntington Woods in their thoughts and prayers. So the American Public Works Association, who is the sponsor of National Public Works Week, presents a new theme every year, which is graphically depicted in the annual poster and embodies the many responsibilities of our public works professionals. This year's theme, which is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, reflects the idea that the roots of service run deep in public works. It's what has propelled public works innovations that have helped our communities evolve into places where people can lead lives of purpose and possibility. Explained further, the theme Rooted in Service, Powered by Community reminds us that public works professionals are motivated to serve the communities that they love and that power them to always do their best. Whether serving as first responders, responding to electricity outages, providing regular waste pickup, or making roads and sidewalks passable after a winter snow event, Public Works puts service at the forefront for their community. I could not ask for a finer group of people to be working for the Madison Heights Department of Public Services. And it's very much worth mentioning this career was not on most of their bingo cards. We have former military, people who are going to school for criminal justice, paramedics, carpenters, landscapers. And if you know my story, you know that I was very much pursuing a career in culinary arts. This was just a great summer job that turned into a lifelong career. However it took place, we all ended up in this job. And we've stayed in this job to faithfully serve our city. Top down, my team's dedication to our residents and enthusiasm for the job is absolutely unparalleled. And I cannot say enough of how fortunate we are as a city to have such an incredible team of professionals serving our residents, and how much of an absolute honor it is to be their director. So I thank you sincerely, Mayor, Council, city staff, residents, and businesses for the support you show not the Department of Public Services, but your Department of Public Services.
Thank you, Sean. And I do have a proclamation to read. So we'll get to do all the whereases. All right. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Madison Heights. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of the employees of the Madison Heights Department of Public Services and their counterparts, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government in the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, business owners, civic leaders, and children in Madison Heights to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their community. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude toward and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th Annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Mayor and City Council of the City of Madison Heights hereby proclaims the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026, National Public Works Week in the City of Madison Heights, and urges all citizens, civic leaders, and civic organizations to join with the American Public Works Association in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Thank you, Sean. Okay, let me get this. There are no public hearings tonight, so we'll move on to meeting open to the public. The public can speak. Just as a reminder to please approach the podium, speak with the microphone, direct your comments towards me as the chair of the board, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. I will let you know when your 3 minutes is up if you're going over. So, public comment is now open.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Kathy Sapia, and now a 50-plus year resident and homeowner of the Dartmouth, Karam Drive, and Bel Air neighborhood. I would like to speak again on the Dartmouth Alley expansion. I think it's number 11 on your scorecard. Here are my notes from the past 3 to 4 years, 10 to 12 meetings, we've discussed everything over and over again. After all of this, on November 10, there was a final no vote on this topic. We covered every aspect. What has changed? Nothing. You still have a piece of land that needs a Michigan left access. I encourage the council to revisit the minutes and the video of the November 10 meeting. I was shocked to see that this topic was on the agenda again. I'd like to quote a favorite comedian of mine, Sebastian Manisfusco. In his routine, he will mention bizarre and nonsensical things that people and organizations do, and then he'll say, "Aren't you embarrassed? Nager Company, aren't you embarrassed trying to still fit a restaurant that cannot be properly accessed and trying to use our Dartmouth as your Michigan left?" Planning Commission, aren't you embarrassed for moving this project forward, knowing the past history of the numerous meetings on this topic? Again, disruption of traffic, disruption of home values, overall safety, and the disruption of the neighborhood. This would all occur with an out-in access Dartmouth Street as a Michigan left. Our residential street that has a no truck sign on it. So number one, stop the embarrassment and the arrogance in this matter. Number two, this is a money grab and a corporate bullying of our neighborhood. Last November 10, I ran out of time for my last page, number 5. I kept it, as you see, with everything for 2, 3, 4 years. But nothing has changed. So I can use it again right now. City Council, you are voting representatives of our neighborhood. Just end it. Vote no to the entire Dartmouth Alley Access project. Again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Chambers. I've been here since 1949 at Lennox and Forest Street. My concern is, at Edison's, around the Edison Park there, which looks great, you put the trees around the park. What happened was, Edison had a big pole there for like 2 years, and I finally hounded him into moving it. I just request that you bring the trees down a little more. You had to stop at the parking lot. And also, when I was in high school, they built the Stevenson House apartments. I can't get out of my drive in the winter. They park in the street there. All I need is a little sign. They got a parking lot and a back door. My neighbor behind me has to park on the grass. He can't even back out because my drive's on a recline, kind of. That's all I ask. And then they put, I see in the park over there, right in the parking lot, a basketball thing. And it's right like a few yards from the street. And the kids are bouncing the ball and running in the street and getting it. I don't know, I think it was a bad spot. But I'd like a sign and the trees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Stacy Matthews. Also live off of Dartmouth Street, just a few houses down from 12 Mile. What I would like to question is, to echo the point earlier, from my understanding is when we first shut down this project, there was a traffic study done. Are there results from that? And do we have the feedback? They put a sign on our street, and it's kind of helped with people speeding, but there's people still speeding insanely down our street, and so I would like to understand if there was a traffic study done, what are the results of that? And then is there also a sound study done too? Because the noise is, or a lot of, I just saw a news that Dearborn police department is cracking down on noise, and I don't see anything happening within our city about people cracking down on noise on loud cars that come down our street. And especially with the construction happening with John R., which is appreciated, more construction is just coming, diverting traffic within our streets. So I would like to, one, know if the traffic study was done, what were the results of that, and then is there any follow-ups in terms of the sound trafficking, or I don't know what that's called, but sound watching.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Are you going? Go on. I got a big mouth, I can wait.
Good evening. My name is Ty Dolan. I'm the Director of Dedicated Client Services for Skynet Innovations, the city's current IT provider. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about the item number 10 on the agenda tonight. 12 years is not a small thing. It represents thousands of hours of collaboration, shared commitment, and a partnership that has genuinely meant a great deal to us. We are proud of the work we've done together, and we're grateful for the trust the city has placed in us along the way. Simply put, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you, for the experiences that help shape our team, and for a relationship we will always value. If the city were to decide to move into a different direction tonight, we wish the city and Dew Point every possible success throughout the partnership, and I do sincerely mean that. Regardless of the vote, our commitment does not end tonight. We will be active, cooperative partners throughout the transition, working alongside the new vendor to ensure continuity, stability, and the smoothest handoff possible. You still have our full support. We will leave this chapter the same way we entered it, with integrity, commitment, and the appreciation for this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Martha Covert, Edward Avenue. I bet you're all so happy I'm back. Miss me? There's so much that I've missed that I need to catch up on, but right now what really has me bothered is this article in the CNG about the Memorial Day Parade. I've had, I don't know how many messages from people saying, you're part of the Women's Club. How could you vote to get rid of the parade? I didn't vote. The whole club as a whole did not vote to get rid of the parade. Okay? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't know how it happened. We were told one day there'd be no more parade. There it was. Do I think it's ridiculous? Yes, I do. Have I made myself known? Yes, I have. But for the paper to print that that's just a lie. I'm sick of people lying. If you can't tell the truth, then say nothing. Because I didn't vote for this. Nobody thought it was a good idea, but, it was no attendance. Well, let's look at the picture with the drum and bugle corps with all the people behind them. That looks like a pretty good attendance to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. As a resident of Madison Heights for over 40 years, I'm here to express some concerns I and others have about a few issues. First, we are wondering if any extra special celebratory events have been planned for the semi-quincentennial 250th anniversary of our country. It's a pretty big deal. We are blessed to be the recipients of the numerous liberties granted to us as citizens of this country. I have noticed celebrations for the Chinese Lantern Festival and Pride festivities, but even in the advertisement for the festival in the park, the 250th anniversary is not even mentioned. Next, in reference to the exterior placement of flags, alternate flag resolution adopted on September 12th, 2002 by the city, I and others would like this resolution rescinded Did it ever occur to proponents of the alternate flags that there are different points of view by other residents of the city, or don't other beliefs matter? I'm proud of being a Christian nation. If the resolution stands, can we put a Christian flag up? This public space should be reserved for the United States flag, possibly the state flag, and POW flag. It should be treated as a neutral public space by which by default represents everyone. We do not have to follow the lead of Oakland County by putting out certain flags just because they do as I was led to believe. Besides, with all of the press that they have been receiving lately, I don't believe following their lead is such a good idea. Not all cities in Oakland County have the Pride Trans flag, and some cities, such as Hamtramck, have removed it as part of pushback from residents who believe their religious liberties are being violated. People of faith's point of view should be considered, and not doing so seems rather discriminatory. The buzzword inclusion is always being thrown around. That should mean including everyone's point of view, and name-calling to shut down the conversation when people speak up is unproductive. Which leads me to the last item. Where does all of this perverse stuff end? I am speaking of drag queens at the Public City Park in Madison Heights for the family-friendly Arts and Pride Day Festival, sponsored by the Arts Board and HREC. It seems this decision to host the drag queens originated from a subcommittee of the Arts Board. It would seem that these subcommittees within the city have gone rogue and totally escaped any scrutiny and oversight that the regular boards are required to have. For that matter, the sheer number of committees and subcommittees overall is getting to be a little much and needs to be streamlined, which would make accountability easier. In conclusion, it is not just the same 10 people in the city objecting, and it's not just my opinion. If it's necessary to get a petition of people's names objecting to this stuff, it may be necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none. Oh, good. Okay. Go ahead.
I live on Kiram Drive, and my concern now is if that restaurant goes in there, just come in here. I had to wait for 3 lights to get across John R. to take the back way to get to, well, wait a minute, cross 12 Mile to get to John R. to take the back way here. I had to wait for 3 lights because they had how many cars backed up. And a lot of them wanted to turn left, and there was a lot of people turning right off out of Lowe's and Home Depot. So that's one point. The other point is, well, to add to that would be having the restaurant where they can't turn left off of 12 Mile into the restaurant. They'd have to turn left down Dartmouth to go to that alley to get into that restaurant. And then you got all the delivery trucks. You get all the people, and then they're going to have to come out that way to turn left to go back onto 12 Mile if they turn right into the restaurant, I think. That's the way they would have to, that they can't even make a left out of the restaurant. I'm not sure on that one. But with all the traffic that we have there, even on 12 Mile Road, this is ridiculous. And all we would have to do, you guys don't live in the subdivision. You don't have to deal with Dartmouth and trying to get out there on 12 Mile Road or that, or cross to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, because you got people still cutting through the subdivisions to go there. And then I'm worried because I always live behind the restaurant, so I get to listen to all the noise and that runs till the middle of the night and all that. And even the new traffic construction, it seems like the expressway sounds louder than it was before, and those walls don't do much. And it'd be nice if they would replace the walls that have been behind our houses for how long, that are rusted and crumbling and all that kind of stuff. Make it higher, make it more sound efficient. That would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none, public comment is now closed. Moving on the agenda to the consent agenda, we have several items. First item is proclamation recognizing Elks USA Youth Week. Next is Director of Public Services Drinking Water Week proclamation. The City Clerk, Historical Commission appointment. Number 6, Director of Public Services, consent to priority waste change of control. Next one is Director of Public Services, Ball Field Light Project Change Order Number 2. We have City Council special meeting minutes of March 23rd, 2026, and we have City Council regular meeting minutes of April 13th, 2026. What is the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there support?
Your Honor, I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next up, under reports, City Manager, contract for IT managed services with DuPoint.
Skynet's contract is expiring at the end of June, and the city is looking to transition to a new IT support services contractor, DuPoint, at the start of fiscal year July 1st, 2026. The existing contract with Skynet requires a 60-day formal notification of termination or non-renewal. Last year, DuPoint partnered with the Michigan Municipal Services Authority on a cooperative contract designed to streamline IT procurement for local governments across Michigan. This agreement allows municipalities like Madison Heights to access cybersecurity assessments and manage IT services without the need for a formal RFP. I'm an appointed member to the MMSA and served on the review committee for more than 30 RFPs during this process. Deputy City Manager Rotman and I have met extensively with DuPoint to discuss our city's needs and expectations and review their proposed contract. We believe that this transition will be beneficial to increasing efficiency and IT support services to our staff. Following an April 15th, 2026 review, ITAC formally recommended that City Council approve the managed IT services agreement with DuPoint, which includes ITAC's recommended additions. DuPoint has accepted these changes, and the city attorney has approved the contract. Staff recommends that based on the ability to take advantage of the cooperative agreement through the MMSA and with ITAC support, City Council approve the 3-year agreement between the City of Madison Heights and DuPoint for managed IT support services, and we have 2 representatives from DuPoint here tonight if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. What is the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I motion that council approves a 3-year agreement between the City of Madison Heights and DuPoint for managed IT support services.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Is there support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
All right, we have a motion and support. Any discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
Yes.
can we have the representative of DuPoint tell us a little bit about the company and before we vote?
Sure. Do we have, who wants to get up for DuPoint?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Matt Scott with DuPoint.
You have
Come to
to
the mic.
speak
Yeah, the microphone,
you
so they
gotta speak in the
can hear you
microphone.
online.
Okay. Matt Scott with DuPoint. A little bit about DuPoint, 30 years supporting IT businesses. Over the last 15 years, we spent a lot of time supporting municipalities from what I say coast to coast, so from the east over to the west. A large percentage of our business is driven from managed services supports. We really focus on the vertical associated with municipalities, cities, counties, townships, villages. So that's how we won the MMSA agreement, is because our experience in municipalities and understanding what it takes to support them in the different elements associated to municipalities like yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Good?
Is that good, Councilman Fleming?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion from council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
so just want to make a note that the DuPoint team did come to the ITAC meeting last week or so. Several of the management team and several of our project team members were there. gave a good presentation. We made some recommendations to additions, as was noted by City Manager Marsh, and they added those to the contract with no issues. I just want to make a note that, DuPont has an NPS score of 78. Anything considered over 70 is excellent. That kind of is a score that helps measure loyalty and responsiveness, and so they've done very well. And the first year cost is less than what we had budgeted for IT services for next year. So,
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda from the city planner, ingress egress easement, Bubba's 33, 611 West 12 Mile Road.
So back in November, City Council was being requested to change the zoning on a residential home in order to make it a driveway aisle of parking use. Tonight, City Council is being asked by the property owner of 611 West 12 Mile to dedicate and record a non-exclusive egress-ingress easement over the existing public alleyway intended to serve as a proposed restaurant bar development. The existing alleyway is a 17-foot wide and currently provides vehicular access between Dartmouth Street and the property at 611 West 12 Mile. An additional 5 feet wide private egress-ingress easement is proposed immediately to the north of the alley, creating a defective 22-foot wide drive aisle. The proposed easement agreement includes provisions for reconstructing and maintaining the public alley and other stipulations regarding repairs, snow removal, monetary donations, and site improvements. Staff advises that City Council approve the non-exclusive ingress-egress easement over the 17-foot public alley located between 611 West 12 Mile and Dartmouth Street, subject to the provisions of the easement agreement. And Planner Matt is here, as is the property owner.
Thank you, Melissa. What is the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion the City Council approve the non-exclusive ingress-egress easement over the 17-foot wide public alley located between 611 East or West 12 Mile Road and Dartmouth Street, subject to the provisions of the easement agreement.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
All right, we have motion support. Any discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes.
So
Councilman
I have a lot of concerns here. Me being a resident that lives south of, between 11 and 12 Mile in the same subdivision here. A couple of things is that I travel up Dartmouth to go to Lowe's and Home Depot and Culver's and everything else in that plaza almost every day, right? And what I'm really concerned about the amount of confusion having this alleyway, having two-way traffic come out of the alley onto Dartmouth, the possibilities of gridlock traffic, waiting for, because you only have one lane that's going to be from southbound Dartmouth traveling north that can make a left-hand turn or go straight, and you have to wait for 2 lanes of traffic coming the opposite direction, going north to south from the Home Depot side. And there could be gridlock actually happening right there south of Dartmouth, which would lead up to traffic extending into 12 Mile, which would be hampering 12 Mile traffic east to west. I also don't understand this concept of why that we need to have an alleyway with 2-lane traffic for this restaurant. I know that on Hall Road, they have no alleyway. It's just one piece of parcel land that has only one entrance on it from the traffic on Hall Road that is going west to east. You can only make right-hand turns out of it, and you have to go down 200 to 300 feet and make a Michigan U-turn to go west. So, and right next to our this location, we have the MDOT has a ride share lot that those people have to make the same kind of they can only go eastbound, and then they have to figure out a way to go westbound every single day of the week. They go to work and they come home, and they have to exit going east, and if they want to go west, they have to figure it out. So, I'm also really concerned about the pedestrian traffic. So we have, we have a lot of people that visit the gas station that's there, whether on bicycle or whether by foot, and adding 2 lanes of traffic going back and forth with all the commotion that's going to be happening there at Dartmouth, that's going to be putting pedestrians all time of day in harm's way that they don't face right now. So these are some of the things that I really am for denying this. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes.
So the reason why I voted for us to support us, one, was to talk about it.
Yes.
So obviously, there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen. That's why I voted to support it. Also, another reason I did is because we're not, I mean, if I'm understanding correctly, we're not voting on Bubba C-33s, we're voting on the easement. So
Correct.
the restaurant has the right to be there
Correct.
already. We're just voting on the easement, not the restaurant, not to approve it, not to deny it, not the noise, not the construction. And actually, something I brought up earlier that we have still yet to address is the traffic in that area, which is just bad. And whether this is here or not, that traffic is bad and it needs to be addressed, but that's not what we're voting on. And that's why I voted to discuss it, so we can be clear about what we are voting on and what we're not voting on. So I agree, 12 Mile in that area is highly congested and incredibly bad. And it's dangerous for pedestrians there, and we need to address that part, but that's not what we're voting on today. So I just wanted to make that clear as to why we're here and what we're voting on, so.
Your Honor, I'd like to say something real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I understand Counselor Wright's statement about that we're only talking about the alleyway, but the alleyway is a contributing factor to why we have traffic adding on to the already existing traffic congestion that's on the street of Dartmouth, not just, 12 Mile Road as it is. And so I just want to make that very, very clear. That's it.
Thank you. Other discussion? Yes, sir.
Your Honor. Again, back in November, as we talked about this, and as Councilor Wright brings up, we're just talking about an option to get in and out of that building. We can't keep it from turning into another car wash or a bar or a family restaurant. That's what that property is designed for. So we're talking about a way in and out of that. Back in November, we had we were able to get a free traffic study of that area that had some suggestions on how we could alleviate some of that traffic. I still would like to see us look into some of those. I don't think we've done much with that traffic study. And again, my concern today is the same as it was back in November. If we don't give an exit for people to safely enter from westbound 12 Mile, or people to exit out onto westbound 12 Mile, they're going to be making illegal left-hand turns, and it's going to cause more traffic issues and more traffic accidents, and that's the biggest concern that I have. There's going to be something that goes on that property. If we don't give them some way to get in and out without making illegal left-hand turns, we're going to just cause more issues.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I agree with Councilman Fleming about so much of this. The in and out here it's dangerous. It's dangerous every day now. And I know people who walk to that gas station, that walk to the Tim Hortons, and I fear for them, especially with increased traffic. And I see that, like, adding that space is an attempt to improve the safety of this alleyway, but I think that using the alleyway, I know it is by right, is that correct? egress for that property. So what I continue to think about right now is where is the safety either way? We're going to have a dangerous situation going on to Dartmouth, or a dangerous situation, people making illegal lefts and illegal rights onto 12 Mile. None of it sounds good to me. So that's where I am right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, thank you. Talking about the point that was made about having it being safe turning left into the parking lot there from traveling westbound, going into the parking lot. The people that have to go into the next lot over, which is the MDOT rideshare lot, they have to travel all the way through the crossing, the crisscross for 12 Mile underneath the bridge. And they have to go to Stevenson Highway and go do a Michigan U-turn and come back around. They do that every single morning so to get to work. Hold on, thousands of people actually do that, right? And they, not just for the rideshare, but thousands of commuters do that same thing every single day to go the other way. Maybe they're going to some other business or whatever it is. And I don't know how many accidents there are doing that, but that's very, very safe versus trying to use somebody else's left-hand turn lane to make a left-hand turn going south. So, I mean, I think that we have really responsible drivers in our city, hopefully, but I don't think that I would give up millions and millions of dollars of business just to, just to say, oh, well, we can only turn right.
Ryan, one final comment.
Yes.
I doubt highly that 1,000 people use that parking, and the reason that you shouldn't be using that one is because if you just go half a mile down the road, there's one on the east side or the north side of the street. So if I'm coming westbound on 12 Mile and I want to park in a ride share, I'm going to go to the one that's on the other side of 12 Mile. I'm not going to make an illegal left-hand turn into that parking lot. I'm just going to go a little bit further and turn into the one that's on my side of the street.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
is there a status of where we stand on discussions with the county about the traffic studies or potential to do better things there?
Go to the city
So we
manager.
have had several conversations with the road commission. They're not going to do anything until the proposal starts to move, until the restaurant happens. The city's going to have to submit a formal request for that. But Brian Nager's company did do a traffic study on there and had a recommendation for a different type of traffic light that maybe Matt can elaborate on. I think it's called a dog house, but Matt, the planner, can elaborate on that as well.
Please do.
Do you want to do that?
Matt, would you like to come up and give some comments on the traffic study and any other information you have?
Seats one.
What's that? Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Matt Lonerstatter, City Planner. I just want to summarize, again, what is in front of you tonight. I think you do have a good understanding of what
Well,
this is.
before you do that, could you talk a little bit about the traffic study, the
Yes,
type
so,
of
yeah,
lot
to-
that they
to start
put
with-
in, and then how we have to do a formal request to
Yeah,
the road
we did-
commission from the city?
Thank you. Yeah, we did meet with RCOC, the Road Commission for Oakland County, as part of this to discuss potential improvements to the Dartmouth 12-mile intersection. The traffic study that was put together by the developer here, Brian Nager, had some suggestions based on the traffic counts. Oakland County essentially said, we can't give you a formal opinion, and it did involve changing the lights to a dog head and changing some of the, a dog head is thank you for that, that's a good question. A dog head is, where you have two lights and then one light in the top, kind of looks like a dog house. It's actually like a dog house. So you have, essentially, it allows a dedicated left or right turn arrow to be on it. The suggestion, the intent of that suggestion is to allow more traffic to go through north and south on Dartmouth. RCOC has said they're not going to take away any time from 12 Mile. Anything that 12 Mile has now is what it's going to be. So we're left with a certain amount of time that has to be split up between it. The suggestion that was put together by the applicant as part of the traffic study, again, Oakland County said, that's interesting. We can't give you a formal yes or no, but it was pretty obvious from the meeting that they were not going to approve that setup. We won't know for sure until something is submitted. So that's where we are with that. If I could just go through some of my points about this, just for discussion purposes.
Go ahead.
And based on what I've heard so far. So yes, this Bubba's 33, the proposed restaurant, this is a permitted by right use in the zoning district, in the B2 zoning district. What that means is, if they meet the zoning ordinance requirements for parking, for landscaping, for setbacks, the city has to approve it. They do have access proposed access off of 12 Mile, it'd be right in, right out. Given the I-75 Diamond interchange, the applicant and the tenant are seeking a secondary access point, again, to allow for people to come in from westbound 12 Mile Road, heading towards I-75, who aren't able to turn left directly from 12 Mile, and then for people leaving the restaurant, allowing them to get out of the site somehow and turn left back onto 12 Mile towards I-75. That's the intent. So, again, permitted by right, and another fact on the ground I want to lay out is that the applicant and the property owner currently do have the ability to use the existing alley because it is a public right-of-way and it is a public alley. It's 17 feet wide. At that width, only one vehicle can travel in at a time. Both ingress and egress, both incoming traffic and outgoing traffic are allowed to use that alley. What happens at 17 feet is if a car is exiting and a car is entering at the same time, you have a head-on collision and you have a situation in which there's not adequate room for a vehicle to get out of the way. So part of the intent of this alley easement, as well as the widening, which would be to 22 feet, would allow for two-way traffic, vehicles to pass each other without there causing a head-on collision or a backup. 17 feet would remain a public alley, and then 5 feet would be added on to the north, which would remain a private alley, or a private easement. But for all intents and purposes, what is being proposed is a 22-foot wide alley that's going to be maintained, serviced, and repaired by the applicant. There are additional site improvements that would be proposed as part of this easement agreement. One would be a decorative masonry knee wall being installed along the north side by the gas station to help screen the parking that's currently there, more of a decorative proposal. There's a chain link fence on the south side that would be replaced by a decorative fence as well to provide more screening from the alley down to the neighborhood. The gas station itself would have to be reoriented, so there are some site improvements for the parking spaces on the gas station parcel, as well as a one-time payment of $20,000, which, while it can be used for anything, could be used potentially for neighborhood traffic safety improvements, including traffic calming to slow down vehicles within the neighborhood. Just one option. So again, the easement in front of you would allow for access, ingress, and egress to that site, but the main thing here being that it's going to be widened to 22 feet. If it isn't approved, what would happen until if that alley is remaining, and it currently is, that 17-foot wide alley, the property owner still has the ability to have their tenant and their customers use that existing alley. It would be 17 feet wide instead of 22 feet wide. But yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to lay that out for you before you take a final action.
I do have a question for you, Matt, while you're up there.
You'll have to address that.
My question is this. So understandably, that alley has been there forever, pretty much. Previous to this restaurant wanting to go in, and many years ago, because I'm old now, Marinelli's occupied that site, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when Marinelli's occupied that site, although we did not have the diverging diamond intersection and interchange, it was still posted no left out of the Marinelli's driveway, correct? If you recall?
I
Did you look that up at all?
recall, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there was, because even prior to the diverging diamond, it still was,
Right.
given the proximity to the freeway, still a dangerous left.
Well, yeah, the proximity to the freeway, the proximity to the Home Depot Lowe's complex, and then we added in, after that, I believe, a Starbucks. Now we've added in another restaurant, Chipotle, I think is also there now. So we've increased, the traffic levels, but as I recall it, back when Marinelli's had that restaurant, there was only one way in and out, and it was to turn right from eastbound 12 Mile. And of course, the alley was there. The alley could be used. The alley probably was used. But I personally, being a police officer here for 31 years, I don't recall a litany of traffic accidents in the alley behind the gas station. So, just kind of a comment, but if you don't recall how Marinelli's was set up, that's fine. But I just wanted to ask. So. Unfortunately, I can't. I had to come during public comment. But is there any other questions for Matt by council?
Okay. Your Honor, so I do have this question here. So on the diagram, the print here for the site, and so I'm saying that it only leaves approximately about 5 feet from the edge of the 22 feet alley to the building of the gas station. Is that right?
I believe so, and I do have, if you do have any specific questions about how the site currently is laid out, we do have the applicant and the property owner here, Brian Nager, if you do have questions for him. I believe it is 5 feet it would be 5 feet from the new curb to the back edge of the building.
Okay, and I mean, I'm not a safety expert here, but I mean, my also concern with this, there's going to be a wall behind, okay, is there going to be a wall that's going to be between, at 22 feet, and then there's going to be, that's where that wall's going, that 3-foot wall?
The masonry wall, as required by the easement, the draft easement, and as labeled on the site plan, would go from the eastern edge of the building to the east towards Dartmouth Street. So it wouldn't go the entire length of the alley because the back wall of the building is essentially serving as a sort of wall to the front of the site. It's not going to be a complete length wall. It's only going to go part of the way of the alley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to screen the parking spaces. It's going to screen potentially the dumpster enclosure, although the dumpster enclosure itself has a masonry wall, which can act as part of the wall if necessary. And then it'll go down to Dartmouth Street, dip down in height so that it's meeting our clear vision corner standards, which is our standard that allows for vehicles to see oncoming traffic, see pedestrians, so that there's no safety issue. And then it will turn around the corner, head north towards Dartmouth, or towards 12 Mile, rather, which will allow for separation between the parking lot and the sidewalk.
What will happen to the, there's the telephone, so none of the the plan here is not to remove any of the DTE energy telephone poles that are.
Correct, those would remain. There's no change to any of the utility easements that are currently in place. Those would be carried over.
And earlier, I'm just saying this for what it's worth here. Last discussion that we had on this, I was told that this alley is also utilized by the fire department. Is that?
It is open to the fire department. The fire department certainly has access. Emergency vehicles, police certainly have access to use that, but they also have the ability, if there's an emergency, they could use the primary entrance off of 12 Mile as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Any other questions for Matt?
Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So we've kind of covered that they have, by right, they can put the restaurant there, they can move forward the project there. In my mind, what I just thought about as we talk about the congestion, one, did staff recommended we move forward, but would the traffic be worse if we just left it as is, or is this some sort of a easing measure? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they have the right to move forward. If they move forward, does this potentially make it worse by not approving the alley and cause more congestion? Because, I mean, again, the congestion is not something we're speaking to. We're speaking to the alley and the easement, not the actual easing of the congestion. So does that all make sense?
I think so. I mean, I think just logically speaking, yes, any new development to the site is going to generate new traffic. It's a matter of how that traffic is split amongst the entrances and the exit points. And when reviewing this, I try to think about all the different angles that issues that could happen if this did go through or if this didn't go through. And my concern is if this does not go through, what we're left with would be what we have today, which is a narrow alley that would create head-on collisions, and I say head-on collisions, but it would be head-on situations that cars can't pass each other. So what happens is that creates backups into the alley onto Dartmouth. Someone has to back up to allow for a vehicle to pass. And then if the alley goes away for some reason, what happens is you have vehicles that can't turn left off of the main entrance off of 12 Mile, trying to get back to I-75 in some manner. So what happens is they have to turn, like Councilman Fleming, they have to find their own way, which diverts the traffic into various different, partially what could happen is vehicles turn right out of 12 Mile and then turn right onto Dartmouth to try to find their way back to it. So I can't guarantee what's going to happen because every driver has their own mindset. I just think of this being the best solution that is available for this development to try to alleviate some of those concerns.
Matt, can you answer how it alleviates when so what we're basically doing, correct me if I'm wrong, we're creating a new entry and exit for this business, even though one already exists on 12 Mile, right? And you're asking us to approve two-way traffic in a public alley onto a subdivision side street, correct?
What is, I want to clarify that the entrance and the exit is already there. I would phrase it as a widening of an existing.
But you're creating two-way traffic where single-direction traffic is current.
Correct, single.
Technically
width,
speaking. Single width, yes.
Single width, yes.
Okay,
yes,
I'll give you that.
yes.
All right, so a very similar situation over at 12 Mile and John R. We have Green Lantern. Now, it's not similar to where, because you can turn right into it, you can turn left into it from 12 Mile. You can't turn left into it from John R. turning, heading south. But they have a sign at the exit that goes into the subdivision. Are you familiar? I'm going to get the street wrong. Is it Groveland?
Yes.
So it's Groveland. There's a no right turn sign, no cars in the subdivision, correct?
I believe so, and I know that that's common elsewhere in the city as well, yeah.
And why are those there?
Well, that's to prevent vehicles from turning right into the neighborhood.
Correct. And that's not proposed in this location, right?
It is.
It is
It
proposed.
is proposed. It's not part of the easement agreement, but as part of
Okay.
the site plan, there is going to be a no right turn sign as part of the development. There's part of the improvement.
Okay, so if I have that correct, we're going to ask two-way traffic in a 22-foot wide alley, and we're going to try to force all traffic exiting that parking lot to turn left. When we have the light that's queuing slow, because 12 Mile gets the priority, how are we going to get cars in there? Are they going to come through the subdivision to get in? I mean, we're going to have traffic congestion even worse than it is now.
That's a fair point. I mean, it's something, and the city does want to see something happen to that Dartmouth intersection, that 12 and Dartmouth.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a matter of how, getting the county to essentially tell us what's going to be approved there. I don't disagree with
Okay.
anything that you said. I think that, that it is a problem. It has been a problem. But I don't foresee, I foresee it still being a problem if this doesn't get approved as well.
Okay,
With
that's
the
fair.
added, with
That's
the,
fair.
yeah, with the added complexity of the narrow width of the alley. But ultimately, this is I'm just letting you know
Yes.
what I'm
That's why I'm
thinking of.
asking.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just letting you know how I have viewed this, this proposal, given, the previous proposal that didn't go through, where we are now, versus, okay, if this does not go through, what could potentially
What can we
happen?
do? Okay, fair enough. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like to also make these points here also. Since I frequently drive this, I can tell you for a fact that I know that I've seen up here on the very small, short piece of, between the alley and the driveway for the gas station where it says no commercial vehicles there, when you come out of Tim Hortons and the sign is right there. I've seen work trucks there, all right? People parking there because there's nothing to say that they can't park there, right? That goes on every single day, and that too, with the traffic coming down south on Dartmouth and having these work trucks and other people that are parking there in a little small area, that causes more, and then there's also the house that's there next to the alley where people are going to be parking at, for sure. They do, every day people park there, that's, part of the neighborhood, and that's a blind spot for a lot of people that are gonna be, to me, if I live there and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna use this alleyway and I live in the neighborhood, I don't know that I would wanna go and make a right-hand turn and come all the way back down John R. when I can just be in the same subdivision and I live there. So you're gonna have people making a right-hand turn regardless, especially the people that live there. And that's what a restaurant is really, a lot of restaurants are there for the most of the people that are for the neighborhood, that are gonna be most of your clients. I mean, you'll have some people that are traveling from distances away, but, you're gonna have a lot of residents that are gonna be going there, driving right through the neighborhood and using the alley, so that no right-hand turn really is, to me, maybe becoming an issue also.
Okay, are there any other questions pointed for Matt? Because I'd like to give Mr. Nager a chance to speak on
Your Honor.
the project. Yes.
Councilman Fleming actually reminded me of something. I didn't do it, but I knew friends who went to Marinelli's and would make that right because they didn't want to go on the 12 mile. So,
Right.
oh, we got a few people who did that. I didn't do it, but they might have done it after a few.
There you
Anyway,
go.
Matt, one thing that we keep, again, we talked about the plan, we talked about the signs. So, I mean, again, in the plans, are there measures to address, Council Fleming even talked about cutting through that neighborhood. A lot of people are cutting through that neighborhood to get to 12 Mile. Are there measures to try and reduce that or slow it down or make it better for those residents? Because the problem isn't the alley or the restaurant, it's the consistent traffic of 12 and people cutting through the neighborhood because of construction and shortcuts. So if I missed it, is there an effort to address that, to put up signs? I know we talked about the mini roundabout in other areas. What traffic calming measures are we asking for as a part of the whole plan?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question, and it's a neighborhood-wide issue, regardless of this, how this ends up. Vehicles and drivers try to find a shortcut the best way as possible. So from a planning perspective and a transportation engineering perspective, what we try to do is say, okay, if we can't stop vehicles from traveling through the neighborhood, we can at least try to slow them down. We haven't had any explicit discussions or plans for Dartmouth here. However, that's part of why there's a this $20,000 donation that can be used to explore traffic calming within the neighborhood, which can be traffic circles, speed humps, chicanes, anything that can be done to get people to slow down. Directly to answer your question, there hasn't been anything that we have explored on Dartmouth right now, as of right now.
All right.
Any other questions for our planner? Okay, thank you, Matt. Mr. Nager, would you like to speak towards this project?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. I'm Brian Nager from Nager Companies. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight and to listen to some of the commentary. Some of you on the council have kind of heard this thing, probably exhaustive, almost ad nauseum, how much we've talked about it. But I do recognize a few new faces and maybe to give you a little bit more color on the situation and sort of, all the different plans that have come forward. I'd like to try to briefly go through that and then maybe open it up for some questions afterwards. But I did, take some notes while people were speaking. And to start, I would really like to thank Councilman Sean Fleming for that. I mean, it was really a beautiful opening prayer, talking about, being united as a community and how we're supposed to respect our neighbors and respect each other and listen to other points of view. This has definitely been a learning experience. I think we've been talking about this thing for almost 2 years now. And just to give a brief history again, started with a couple of community meetings, town hall meetings, got some feedback from some of the neighbors. And I want everybody to know that this thing has not remained the same since we started. There's been a lot of, iterations of site plans and changes, and we're not just sitting here today saying, let's roll the dice, see if this thing works. So I'm just gonna try to highlight some of the major changes that have gone on here. Initially, parking was a huge issue. We reduced that parking down on the additional parcel, so that was lowered. The next issue that came up was, infringing too far into the neighborhood, which involved tearing down the house down there, which we also own. So that house was gonna be scraped, and the driveway was gonna be expanded to be, where the house was. So that had benefits of additional landscaping and, a little bit of better flow. There was a lot of pushback from the neighborhood. They didn't want that thing infringing into the neighborhood. So we pulled back from that. So that's a major change. Now the house is staying there, and we're utilizing an existing alley that has been there in service. Again, I think somebody said since the beginning of time. I mean, I think we look back on it, it was when the subdivision was actually platted back in, in the 60s or 70s. So this alley has been there as long as anybody can remember. It did serve a restaurant there, which was there for many years, Marinelli's. We also did complete a traffic study from an independent and well-respected traffic engineer. They came up with findings that this would not significantly increase traffic on Dartmouth. That's very important. They did do the study, and in summary, the majority of the traffic coming in and out of here is going to be coming off of 12 Mile. This was a secondary entrance that was not going to significantly increase traffic, especially during, peak times. So that was another thing. I mean, the traffic study, to the benefit of the community and everybody else here, I think should be looked at and utilized maybe in the future. Again, I think that's another benefit that came out of this whole process. Again, I think we've touched on, that this is already an approved site plan for an approved use, so we're not stretching there. The alley is old, it's antiquated, it's 17 feet wide. I think it will cause a lot of problems. I think more problems with that than it will the other way. Reason being is that if people are trying to turn in and can't get through, that's gonna cause a big backup on Dartmouth. If people are leaving the restaurant and can't get out to Dartmouth because traffic is backed up, which it may happen, at times during the day right now, they're not gonna queue up anymore. They're gonna be basically stuck in that alley, waiting to get queued out there. So I think that head-to-head traffic will definitely be a problem. So I see this as being a major increase in safety. We also heard from, I think it was Councilwoman Emily, about some of that pedestrian traffic coming back and forth. By taking it from 17 feet and going to 22 feet, we are going to increase visibility. We're going to increase the width. That should give cars coming in and out a better look in terms of visibility of coming in and out. So I think that would actually be an improvement. and that would be a much safer situation for somebody walking there. I think if we have in the past had the screens up showing the existing conditions. They're not great. It's not pretty, it's not aesthetically pretty, the fence is not great, the alley's tired, it's in need of repair. I think we're doing a lot here to benefit everyone and everybody in that area, so, you know.
Excuse me.
Well, it's a question of, that's fine, I don't mind it, but I'm a community member also. I've been in this community for about 40 years. We developed a shopping center in Madison Heights on Lincoln and John R., probably in 1980, 82. So that was our first development there in Madison Heights. We also are community members. We also own a shopping center on 12 Mile and John R. We take great pride in that. We also own 2 gas stations here. So I think that, you know, it's not about where you live. I mean, we're a part of the community as well. So I want that to be known. We're not developers from California in a different area. I mean, we're local and we take pride in our development. So I think that, you know, that's kind of an unfair comment, but that's my stance on it. So,
Okay, thank you.
any questions for me?
Council, any questions?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so, my question is, and maybe you can help me understand, what do you think about the difference of the Hall Road site versus the site here, of why Hall Road can be a one entrance and here it has to be two?
Where it has to be one. I'm
Well, okay,
really
so
not
Hall
familiar
Road,
with that
just-
traffic
just
situation.
On Hall Road is, you know, the Bubba's 33. I know it's not your site, but I mean, it's a Bubba's 33 site, and it only has one exit that goes eastbound on a boulevarded road, right? And so, yeah, and now you have this site here that can only go one direction. So if they can operate on a daily basis with only one entrance and going one direction, why? Why do you need the public access of the alleyway to have 2 lanes back and forth? What is your argument for that?
I really wouldn't call it an argument. I'm not that familiar with the site on Hall Road, but I know Hall Road. I mean, Hall Road is 6 lanes, you know, with a boulevard in between. I think it's like trying to compare apples and oranges, you know, with all due respect. It's 2 different markets. You're talking about Hall Road versus 12 Mile. It's like, yeah, it's just, I don't think it's a fair comparison.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I think for
It's fine,
12,
yeah.
I think for 12 Mile for this site, you know, the ask of improving an already existing condition, I don't think is, you know, as a secondary entrance is a detriment whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Rohrbach.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I hear you saying you don't think it's a big deal, basically. Like, it'll be fine, it won't add traffic, it won't do these things, it won't bother the neighborhood. And I think it's pretty clear to me that the neighborhood is bothered just by the idea of it. And that happens, right? Like, people don't like change. And so I get that. But like, I also am very worried about this as a fundamental detriment to the character of the neighborhood and how it interacts with the commercial spaces on 12 Mile. And, you know, having, there are, besides the Hall Road example, things like that, there are lots of businesses that have a one way in, one way out, and people figure it out, you know? And I know, and I get that it's a public easement and people can use it. And it is ugly, so that would be nice to change, but I don't understand why we're not talking just full on about proper signage to tell people how to get in and out of this site off of 12 Mile, period. and not guiding people to the public easement alleyway as an option. So that's my question. Do you have a reason for me why we have to use this public easement or public alleyway as an option for the in and out of this business?
Well, my response would be is that, you know, this was a restaurant for a long time, and it utilized the alley as well. If 12 Mile was, you know, 3 lanes in each direction with a middle turn lane, and you had full access in and out with the left turn lane, then I think it would be fine. But that's not the case here, so I think the traffic patterns and being able to get in and out, I definitely think is necessary. Again, I would, you know, just driving over here, I drove down that road and I said, you know, let me just look at it again. So I would ask, you know, everybody here to think about, you know, right next door to us is Tim Hortons. They have probably, it looked like double or triple size wide, you know, driveway that exit out onto Dartmouth. Then I went a little further down. There was the shopping center there empties out onto the side street in the neighborhood. Then I went a little further. Red Lobster dumps out into the back of the neighborhood. Then I went a little further. This is all within 500 yards. Bank of America, ingress, egress off of 12 Mile, but it also dumps out into the neighborhood. Then I went a little further and got to John R. And you're at Green Lantern, several, you know, entrances and exits out in the neighborhood. Why all of a sudden is this such a, you know, an exception? I understand 12 Mile is very busy right there, but again, I don't see this as being any different than any one of those. And we've had a restaurant here for 40 years. So that's you know, those are my thoughts.
Any other questions for Mr. Nager?
Yeah,
Councilman Fleming, do you have
sure,
another question?
thanks. Yeah, well, just one statement here, you know. I know that you're saying that every, and it is true that every location on 12 Mile has an egress that's to the neighborhood on the side street, and also, just like the gas station that's there, right? But the restaurant, or that lot of land that's next to it is not on the corner. Just to make sure that it's not on the corner, and its egress is in the front on 12 Mile Road. So that would be like having 2 Tim Hortons next to each other, or, you know, north, just in 2 lots of land, taking up 2 parcels, you know, stacked on one another, and having 2 egresses. That's what you're asking for, is 2 egresses out of, you know, some locations, let me just go here, some locations would somehow figure it out so that the gas station would maybe connect to the restaurant or something like that. That's not what I'm asking you to do, but I'm just saying they would not double stack these egresses to make it more congested. I mean, you know, that's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Nager? Okay, thank you, Mr. Nager. I do have some comments that I wanted to give. Most of it's already, we've gone over quite a bit of it, so I'll try to keep those brief. First and foremost, I mean, I have concerns. You know, I had concerns at the very beginning when we were looking at this because Marinelli's did survive there for many, many years without having two-way traffic in and out of the subdivision. As other council members have said, I think Mayor Pro Tem Muir and Councilor Quinn Wright did mention that we're not here to discuss the business itself, because we know the business is there by right, and you're going to build the business, and it's going to be a great business regardless of the decision tonight. But really, the decision tonight absolutely has to do with the traffic. That's what we're here to talk about, because whatever we do with this public alleyway as it stands right now is going to change flow of traffic. It's going to change the traffic that is in the subdivision. Now, right now may be a bad time because John R. is completely under construction, so that's forcing a whole different traffic dynamic. But still, this isn't going to go away. It's going to be an issue whether we have a two-way in and out, or just the alleyway. And one thing that Mr. Nager had said tonight, and I don't have it word for word, so I can't quote it, but he did state that he believes that the main entry and exit is going to be 12 Mile. I would agree that that will be the main exit. So I don't see the big push and need to make this alley a two-way roadway. I just don't see it. So that's just where I'm at right now. I've heard everything, and so does council have any other discussion before we move towards a vote? Okay, hearing none. We have a motion and a second, so we'll move on to the vote. Clerk, can you please do a roll call vote?
Councilman Fleming,
No. I just want to clarify, knows my vote, but just to clarify the rest of council, this is for approving it.
Correct. The motion was to approve.
Yes.
Counselor,
I'm saying no.
Counselor Geralds,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Muir,
Yes.
Counselor Rohrbach,
No.
Counselor Wright,
Yes.
and Mayor Haynes.
I vote no. That looks to be, the motion fails because it was a tie. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Moving on to 11B, which was added on the legal opinion. Do we have a motion regarding that?
Your Honor,
Sorry.
Yes.
I think the motion on the added item should be to motion to approve the recommendation made in closed session by MMRMA Special Counsel concerning the claim of Michael Malczewski, Malczewski.
Okay, anybody willing to make that motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
so moved.
Thank you. Do we have support?
Support.
All right, we have motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Moving on to items for future public hearings from the city planner, street right-of-way vacation request, PEE number 26-01-GWK/WRC, unimproved rights-of-way. We need a motion to schedule the public hearing on that issue for May 26, 2026. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that council establish a public hearing date for May 26, 2026, after which final action can be made.
Okay, thank you. If we have a motion, do we have support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. And the second item under items for future public hearings, the CED Director, 28220 John R. Road Brownfield Plan, to schedule a public hearing on May 11th of 2026. What's the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that council holds a public hearing for the consideration of Brownfield Plan for 28220 John R. LLC, located at 28220 John R. at the regular council meeting of May 11th, 2026.
Okay, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
All right, we have a motion and support. Any discussion on this item? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, we are complete with the council meeting as we have had, so I will go through closing comments, starting with Councilman Sean Fleming.
So I've prepared this, kind of like a statement here. I want to take my final moments to address a shadow that's hung over my community this past week. I attend the Jewish congregation Beth Shalom, located in Oak Park, Michigan. And this week, our house of worship, a place of peace and prayer, was defaced with anti-Semitic graffiti. It is one thing to discuss marginalization as a theoretical policy, and it is another to see that hate written on the walls of your own spiritual home. It creates a fear that is heavy and very, 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 very real. But as I sat with the fear this week, I found myself looking at strength in the legacy of Emma Lazarus. Lazarus was a woman whose entire life was shaped by her Jewish identity and her family's history of fleeing persecution. She didn't just witness anti-Semitism, she saw the waves of refugees arriving at our shores, broken and weary, and she made a choice. She chose to turn that shared pain into a source of national power. She is the reason that the Statue of Liberty is known as the Mother of Exiles. She took the very persecution aimed at her and her people and used it as a catalyst to write a new, more inclusive definition of what it means to be an American. She taught us that only true response to being told that you don't belong is to build a community where everyone belongs. The events of Beth Shalom are a sombering reminder of why leadership we provide in this room is so vital. We cannot allow fear to dictate how we live or how we represent our residents. Emma Lazarus didn't wait for the world to stop being hostile before she did great things. She used that hostility to fuel for her fire. As we go home tonight, I carry the courage with me. I ask us to take those traits, her empathy, her resilience, and her refusal to be silenced, and let them guide us until we meet again. And we must live our lives to do the work with our heads held high, ensuring that in this city, the torch of inclusion remains lit, and even when others try to dim it. And in conclusion, my response to the ink on those walls at my shul be my continued dedication to one another and to continue with positive outlook, shining a light even in the times of darkness. All right, and I also want to say that a couple weeks ago, I know we were going into the construction season here on John R., and I did go to the Oakland County Road Commission and asked them to look at some of the lights, the timing of Gardenia and John R., for instance. I know that for a long time, that light going across there, you would get there, you'd have to wait for a long time, and then the light would turn green going east to west, and you would have a very short, small period of time that you couldn't even get across. So I did call them, and they did. It looks like they've made some changes, and it's longer when it's green. So just to let you know that, I hear people, what they talk about, and I am trying to work on some of the things that's going on. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Geralds.
The only comment I have actually has to do with exactly his last point. So last time you made sort of a lighthearted comment about that light feels like you're there for 5 or 6 minutes. You're not wrong. And I noticed it one day, it wasn't 5 or 6 minutes, but you're right, it did feel that way. So thank you for making that call.
All right, Councilor Rohrbach.
Yes, first I want to say the Madison Heights 5K was, the Run for the Health of It was on Saturday. It was a great turnout. Councilor Wright did a great job actually running the race. I did not run. As I have said before, if you can see me running, somebody is chasing me. But I was there to cheer people on, but also to announce the winners of the garden grants for the Environmental Citizens Committee. For those of you that don't know, the Environmental Citizens Committee runs a plant sale, a native plant sale every year out in the parking lot here. And the proceeds from that go towards several things, but one of them is to grant money to individuals, residents in the city of Madison Heights, as well as groups who apply for our native garden grants. So people will use these funds to build up native gardens on their own properties or on the property of the organization or business that they work for. So this year, we gave out, I believe, a total of 15 garden grants. The first one was for I think the second or third year in a row of John Page Middle School, the wonderful teacher that runs the ecology program there. Ecology Club has a great native garden that she started with the help of our grant initially and has built over the years. So we were able to give her $1,100 for the continuation of that program. And in addition, another 14 either 13 or 14, individuals, residents in the city of Madison Heights who are putting native gardens, expanding their native gardens on their property. They each got $300 for their native gardens. I've seen these gardens, they report back to us with pictures, befores and afters and things like that. Some really amazing things have happened and on people's properties with these native gardens. So I just want to say congratulations to the winners, and we look forward to seeing their beautiful photos at the end. Also, if you are like, man, I wish I had money for a native garden, you should apply next year. The applications go up on the Madison Heights website around the beginning of the year, each year, and we basically granted everybody who applied for this grant that $300. They all ended up getting, some asked for a lot more, some asked for about $300, so we gave everybody a chance. So please, you know, if we get 500, we're probably not going to get $300 to everybody, but please apply for next year, because the more we can each do to improve our own little plots of land, the better it is for all of us as a community. It's better for our water resources, it's better for our air, it's just better all around. Our pollinators, everybody wins, so please participate. And if you're interested in planting native gardens, the Environmental Citizens Committee is also hosting a free workshop about how native plants can transform your yard into a haven for birds. That is going to be on Wednesday, May 6th, so next week, at the Active Adult Center. It is free, but register. You can register online on the city website. It starts at 6 p.m., I think. I'll double check that, but thank you for asking questions I don't know the answers to. But I believe it's at 6 p.m. There at the Active Adult Center. So, but please register. It'll be really cool. Our friends at the company that comes out of the garden folks that come out and do the native plant sale with us are the folks that come and do the program. So, and then because this is Public Works Week, one of the ways that we're all going to see our staff at the Public Works is Saturday, May 9th, is the Spring Cleanup Day over on Ajax Road. If you have those things that you can't put out in the trash, furniture, appliances, paint, dried latex paint cans, car parts, giant things of carpeting, things that just are huge that you're not going to throw on the curb or that can't be picked up by priority waste, sod, dirt, mulch, rocks, all of that stuff, take a truck over to DPS on Saturday, May 9th, and they will take it all. They'll just pull up a truck and they'll help you unload it, and done. You don't even have to exit the car. They will unload it for you. So please do it. It's residents only, so you have to have a valid ID, but it's a great program that City of Madison Heights offers year after year, and it's very helpful for us. I know Sean Ballantyne would tell me, do it. So if you have stuff, do it. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Acting City Clerk?
No, thank you.
Okay. City Manager?
Nothing tonight.
City Attorney Larry Sherman?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Wright?
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to invite everyone out to the HRAC's Paradise Sea Festival on May 30th. It'll be from 5 until, I believe, 8. Don't quote me on that closing time, but it's a lantern festival where you get to immerse in Asian culture. There will be food. There will be opportunity to make lanterns and display them, and we're working on the parade around the park to show off the lantern. So if you're free May 30th, come on out, come participate. Be a part of it. It should be a good time. And, you know, on that note, I want to encourage folks who are interested in throwing events, and please know that our events are put on by volunteers. So if we don't have it, it's not because we're not interested or a lack of trying. It's because many hands make light work, and we only have so many people. So if people want to get involved, come help throw some more festivals that we aren't doing, and help us to broaden our horizon and expand our horizon and learn about different types of events and cool things for the folks of the city. So I wanted to highlight just a couple of things for my council member. Happy Jewish American Heritage Month. Happy Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It's important to acknowledge these because it's cool to learn about our neighbors, and it's cool to just say, hey, you're welcome here, and we acknowledge you, and we don't just acknowledge you now, but we acknowledge all of you, like your culture and everything about you. So, on the other side of that, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the reason why we acknowledge these things are not to detract from anything else, but just to take inventory, to check in, to say, hey, this is something I should check into, like my own mental health. Like, how do I deal with stress? How do I deal with anxiety? Do I run to keyboards? Do I run to, somewhere else and just like spew my frustration? And just take care of ourselves. So I did that by trying to hurt myself and running a 5K last weekend. So, and I want to encourage more people to do stuff like that. I know participation could have been higher because I took second place in my age group. And so what that tells me, wait, you guys laughed too hard at that one. But it's just an opportunity to, one, plug into each other, but also plug into the community. I mean, we're going to have, it's honestly a good thing that we don't agree on everything. We're not meant to agree on everything, so it's good we can have discussions like about the restaurant and the easement. It doesn't mean you need to hold a grudge. It doesn't mean you need to remember it forever. It just means at that time, based on that information, that was a decision that was made. But get to know each other as people, as neighbors, not just as a villain or somebody I don't like. We're all people. We make decisions for different reasons, and that doesn't make us someone we should look at as an opponent. It makes us look at someone we should try and get closer to, not further away from. So on that note, I just want to remind everybody to remember to be kind.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor. This past week, I had the honor of attending the Oakland County Economic Outlook presentation with Finance Director Kunith and City Manager Marsh and Mayor Haynes. Also, the State of City address on Friday. Mayor Haynes did an awesome job. And we won't say, well, yeah, Mayor Haynes did an awesome job. We'll just leave it at that. In honor of Drinking Water Week, later this week, several of us are going to be attending the Water Commissioner Nash's presentation over at the drain, Kunith Drain, on how water works. So that'll be a fun Thursday morning for us. I want to shout out to our Little League program here in Madison Heights, not because I have a lot to do with it, but I wanted to let folks know that we are still currently looking for 6, 9, or 10-year-olds. So if you forgot to get them signed up, we have 6 openings. I'd love to get them signed up. And we have 1 opening for 13 and 14-year-olds. So, and again, if you missed that deadline, you can go to Madison Heights Little League Baseball and get them signed up. We'll get them on a team, and I'm going tomorrow to order uniforms. So, also, again, May 16th, 10 o'clock is opening day. I encourage my fellow council members to come out and be embarrassed with me trying to throw the first pitch. It gives me more people to get warmed up with. So if you can make it, I appreciate it. And if you could just let me know that you're planning on attending, I'll buy you a hot dog. Thanks.
Okay, just a couple of comments tonight. First of all, the construction, obviously everybody's seen the construction on John R. We've been preparing for it for a while, but thank goodness it's finally here to get John R. back in shape to the way we need it to be. So I know we're going to be challenged for a few months, but we'll get through it like we always do, and then John R. will be much better for traveling purposes. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you, and I'm very happy to be part of this city council. I mean, tonight we had a topic that was, had different opinions on either side. And we listened to each other. We didn't argue about it. We did everything professionally and confidently. And I mean, the vote is what the vote is, but I'm proud of the way that we held the discussion. And it was good, solid discussion. We went on for, a good amount of time with discussion. And we heard everybody, and just, again, I'm very proud to be part of that. We did, I think, a fantastic job doing that. So it's kind of the first meeting that has really gone that long since we've had our new council. So thank you to everybody, and thank you for everybody that came tonight to speak out and to speak up on the things that are important to you, and know that we are listening and we are doing what we can to make Madison Heights the best city ever. So thank you, and with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 8:10.